I was just thinking that about the time that I spent in the Peace Corps in Moldova, which, for those of y'all who don't know, Moldova is the poorest country in Europe. It's about the size of Maryland, has a resident population of about 4.5 million. It's in between Romania and Ukraine in Eastern Europe. Um, this really profoundly changed for me. This sounds so funny, but it changed for me my understanding of how the world works. Before I was just some kid from suburbia, gone to Catholic prep school, and graduated from university. Much like millions of other people every year here in the United States do. But I'm a conservative, politically and otherwise. So, you know, take that for whatever that means in your mind. But going over there and living with a family, living in a village, seeing what that experience was like, profoundly changed for me how I think about everyday life, how I think about people with whom I interact, uh, how you know the United States should help other people uh, who need it in other parts of the world. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling because I'm trying real hard to use the exact words that I want. Um, I'm still a conservative despite the long hair here, but I think that we have a duty to help people when they can't help themselves. Now, this makes me think of what my grandfather, my mother's father, used to tell me that, it's not about handouts, but it's about when somebody can't do it themselves, if they're, disabled physically, or if they have some sort of other disability, um, be it physical, emotional, or they just don't have the means to make their life better, then we don't need to give them a hand out, but rather, to sort of use some punch words, a hand up. Um, you know, I don't think that here in the United States we really understand how good we have it. Uh, you hear every day about, oh, so many people losing their jobs, people losing their homes to foreclosure, uh, divorce rates, broken families, whatever. Um, this reminds me of a story my host mother over in Moldova, Natalia Ivanovna, told me. And there was a single woman who lived in the village, very nice lady. Her name escapes me at the moment, but she told me that her electric bill for the month was 10 lei, which was a little bit less than a dollar. I said, wow, that's amazing. Because apparently in her home, she had a home. I never saw it, but they told me she did have one. Um, the only electric appliance that she had was a light bulb. And she didn't use it all the time. So that was, it's little stories, little vignettes like that amaze me. Um, Frequently in the village, the power would go out without warning. I, I remember the water would get turned off for whatever reason. You never really knew why. But eventually, maybe a few hours or maybe a day or two later, it would come back on. And my host mother, Natalia Ivanovna, always said that it was good that we lived on the same street as the head of the water company did, because that meant we got our water turned on first. I never knew if there's any truth to that or not, but it was an interesting story. I think I got a little space in between my front teeth here. Um, Or, for example, the time a couple of years ago I went back to Eastern Europe with a very good friend of mine. Went to Russia, and actually Natalia Ivanovna was in Moscow at the time.
It's 22 hours.
Sorry, that's the clock there. And met up with her, and she's just great. And she was working na Zarabatki, you know, there in Moscow to earn money and send home because there's practically no work to be had in Moldova. So she pulled out of her purse $700, not rubles or lei, but dollars, in cash, and handed it to me and said, "Here, give this to my son to help pay for his tuition at the university." And so I go back there, I kick in an extra $100 because I kind of felt bad, and handed it to him. And it's wow. I mean, that was like a fantastic sum of money. It's a pretty good chunk of change for me too, but I mean, for them that was just fantastic. And here she was, living in an apartment probably with 4 or 5 other women. You know, no car or anything luxurious as that, and you know, me, who, you know, I like to think she thought kindly towards, um, gives me this fantastic sum of money to travel cross country. I mean, to another country to give to her son. Um, you know, in many ways, I wish I were back there. I wish I were back in Moldova, back to see all the old country, the friends that I made, the places that I saw. Um, I think sometimes that life here is just too complicated. It's and I don't mean to say that life there is simpler, which it is, but in a pejorative sense, like people there are somehow lesser. No, that's not the case at all. It's just you don't have the rush, the hurly burly, as it were, of life here in the United States. And I don't know. It just I wish things here in Texas, in the United States, were just different. And I'm not smart enough to say exactly how that should be, but I just wish things weren't the way they are. We could, we as a people, such as we are, we as a nation, could do a lot better. We could do a lot better to learn from places like Moldova, from people like Natalia Ivanovna Maeva. We could all be a better people if we just took a deep breath, slowed down, helped our neighbor across the street, sat out on our porch a little bit more in the evening as it started to get cooler, and waved to the people who might walk by, you know, strike up a conversation with the guy next door. Just be a little bit different, a little bit nicer, a little bit friendlier. Uh, if wishing just would make it so, we certainly would be a better people for it.